Hello, today I'm going to be showing kind of a tutorial on how to replace the two fans on a ASUS AMD Radeon RX580 graphics card. And so the fan that we're focusing on specifically today is going to be this fan right here. It's kind of intermittent working. You can see it's working a little bit now, but then when you do spin it a couple times, it does start to kind of faulty out. And so without just replacing the one, we're going to just actually just do both. And so the main thing that we're focusing on is just that. But the secret is we're going to do this without having to take off, you can see the other half here, the entire radiator piece on the graphics card. And so I will also show how to take this plastic piece off. I just took it off just to kind of demonstrate how that works, what we're working with today. And so hopefully this tutorial will be helpful, maybe not only just for this specific graphics card, but maybe for some others that are similar. So let's get started. So initially, like I said in the beginning, I've already taken this plastic piece off, but we're going to pretend like it's still on in this case. So the first step to taking this plastic piece off is to remove this faceplate. I'm going to carefully lift it up here. The faceplate for the ports so that you can easily get underneath, because there is going to be some clips on the bottom here on each side that clip onto the radiator. So you can see there's two here and two here. And so to access this, to take it off, you'll need to take this plate off. And so real quick, we'll just carefully do that. And so there will be about 6 screws here to take off. And then there will be these two right here that you can take maybe some pliers, carefully unscrew that. And then once you get it loose, you should just be able to do it with your hands. And then once you get all that undone, this faceplate should easily just slide right off. So unfortunately, I made a realization that I forgot to mention this after I put it all back together. However, when taking after taking the faceplate off, to take the top plastic piece off, what you're gonna do is just look for the clips underneath here and here. So there's gonna be 2 right there and there. And so to take that off, you'll just carefully take one side off before taking the other side off. So what I did was I actually took this end off by carefully pulling up so to get unhooked. And then after that came off, I kind of carefully slid the top portion off to kind of flip it up. So I apologize for missing that segment there. So when taking the top portion off from the bottom, I'm going to be attaching a photo following this that will be kind of helpful to refer to when detaching the ports of the fans or the connectors of the fans from the bottom portion. So following this video or this clip here, I'll attach that photo for you to kind of glance at and then refer to when reconnecting them later on. So now that we've gotten the top portion fully separated from the other half, the next step is to remove both fans from the top piece. And so what you'll need is a smaller screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, to be able to get in between the fan blades. And so there will be 5 screws per fan. And so I can show you from the top, but it's a little bit more difficult. But so if we just flip it over, there's going to be screws in between the fan blades on the bottom, right here, 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 here. And then if you go a diagonal, there's going to be another one right here where the wire leads to the connector here. So we'll undo those each. And then once you undo them, the fans should easily come out of the kind of air or chassis that they're in. And from there, we should be able to kind of pull the wire through and then put the new one back in just the way it came out. So just be careful, the screws are very small. So if you have a magnetic screwdriver, which I don't, unfortunately, that'll be very helpful. So that's just a side note there. So now we have the new fans and we're going to put them in just the way that we took the old ones out. And so the process is going to be exactly the same. Just be careful when you're putting the plug in through this hole here, not to pull on the other end so hard to damage anything going on here. And just be careful not to lose any screws in the process. So we'll do that real quick and then get on to the next step. So now that we got the fans installed here, what we're going to do is focus on getting this reconnected and connected to the bottom half. So if you wanted to do any cleaning or anything like that to this is a prime time doing so. So I did that a little bit, and so now that we got that done, we're just going to get these connected. So in the beginning, if you didn't take note of which went where for the ports, that's okay. So thankfully they're color coded. So there's a black port here, it's kind of hard to see, and a white port. And so what I did was I made the top part in alignment with the bottom as it flips over top. So the smaller or the shorter distance hooks here, as opposed to this side here, the shorter side will align with the side with the ports. So we'll align it this way. The right side here is going to connect with the black port here. So we'll do that here real quick. And be careful when doing this not to damage any of the pins, and make sure that it's in line, and just carefully press it in until it comes together. So I try to be very careful with this. So we got that one connected. Now on to the last one. I had it the wrong way. There we go. Awesome. So now that they're connected into the right place, this is going to be the tricky part with getting the cord to carefully fit back to where it was before. So I don't quite remember how it was, so I'm just going to kind of do it in a way that it's out of the way of the fans, so when it's running, there's not going to be any collision with the wire and the fan. So the big point here is there's going to be two kind of clips here. It's kind of hard to see. I'll kind of bend it up. There's one right here and one right here. You'll want to get this wire right here on the bottom, this second wire here, connected or slid into this little slot here, so that when you flip it over, it'll be in there tight and secure. So I'll do that real quick, and then I'll kind of do an overview show of what it'll look like when the wires are put in and secure, so when you flip it over, it'll be good. So I got the wires kind of meshed in and compressed so that they're out of the way relatively. I'm not the best at wire management. I never have been. But what I did was I kind of put and tucked away the wires so that when it's put on top, they're out of the way. I'll kind of zoom in here a little bit so you can see the big wire that connects down to the bottom half of the GPU is tucked into those little crevices there, and then when we flip it, it should snap on pretty well. So I'm going to do some fine touches on tucking this back in, and then we'll get this snapped back onto the bottom half. So now I got the wires tucked in a little bit better. So what we're going to do is just carefully, just as the way we took it off, get one side or the other slid on first, so that it'll be a little bit easier to get the other side on. So this is either, you can do it from the left or the right, however which way you want to do it. And so I'm going to actually do it from the left side with the wider hooks. And first we're going to get kind of underneath there and get it aligned well enough so that when we push it down, it'll be pretty head on. So I'm going to do that real quick. I think we might be pretty close. And I'm going to get kind of underneath as a support, kind of push. And don't be afraid to put a little bit of pressure, but be very conscious of not damaging the kind of metal ports or anything around it, especially when pressing directly on top. You don't want to damage anything you don't want to. So I'm being very careful doing so. I don't want to break anything. There. That was a little tougher, but now that we got it on, it's all put together for the most part. Now we're just going to get this faceplate back on, just the way we took it off, and then we'll see if this gets working again. So now that we got the faceplate here put back on, it's pretty much all back together. And so now it's just testing if it works. And so it should work as long as the fans were done correctly and plugged into the right ports. So I appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a great day.